Shoulders relaxed back and down. Weight even in the hips. Spine in neutral. Core switched on. Starting with 100. As you breathe out, float your leg up to coffee table. Making sure the knee is directly above the hip, shin parallel with the floor. Point your foot if you can. Breathing in through the nose for 5 counts. Breathing out through the mouth for 5 counts. Bring the shoulder blades back and down. Keeping the core switched on and spine in neutral. Shin parallel with the floor. If you feel you're able, you could advance by lengthening the leg, keeping the shin parallel with the floor. Keeping the knees hip distance apart. Always aiming for 10 breaths. And when you finish returning to coffee table, return the foot to the floor. Making sure you keep your hips level. Core switched on. And you're ready then, floating your opposite leg up. Again, shin parallel with the floor. Knee directly above the hip. Another advancement, keeping the shoulder blades back and down, lengthen the arms, raise them an inch or so off the floor, keeping them completely straight, just moving from the hip, as if you're bouncing a rubber ball under each hand, trying to keep the rest of the body nice and steady, using the core to help stabilize the hips. You do this, where you combine it, lengthening the leg, keeping the shin parallel. Still breathing in for 5 counts and out for 5 counts. Keeping your core switched on. Relax the arms back down, returning the knee to coffee table. Breathing out as you return the foot to the floor. Going into our double leg stretch. Keeping the feet hip distance. Core switched on, spine in neutral. Keeping the ribs tucked in. My ribs stick out quite a bit, so they're already out there. Trying to keep them tucked in. And as you breathe as you breathe out, bring your arms back. Going as far as you can comfortably go, keeping the arms completely straight. Breathing in as you come forward. Letting the hands land on the thighs. Breathing out as you go back. Three. 4. 5. If you feel you're able, as the arms go forward, you lift the head, lift the shoulder blades, and then breathe in. So our elbows go back again. Trying to time it so that your spine is imprinted on the floor at the same time your hands land on your thighs. arms as straight as you can, go back as far as is comfortable, keeping them straight. Trying to imprint as your hands land on your thighs. Really trying to get your shoulder blades up off the floor. Really engaging the upper abs. And then finally, if you feel you're able, you can add in a little slide up, lifting the lower back slightly off the floor. And then as you make your way toward the lower back, so it's the shoulder blades and then the middle back. And then when you're finished, turn your arms down by your sides. Going on to our single leg stretch. Core switched on. Same as we did before, we're going to float one leg up to coffee table. Keep the shin parallel to the floor. Okay. As you breathe out, keeping the spine in neutral, core switched on. Lengthen your leg at about 45 degrees so that the knees are in line, and then breathing in as you return. And going for 2. And 3. So just coming back to your coffee table position. Not coming back too far. If you feel you're able, you make it more difficult by extending your leg closer to the floor, but always coming back to coffee table, shin parallel. If you find that in the beginning it's too easy, you can always aim a little higher. Try to make sure you fully extend the leg, locking at the knee. And again, just going for 10. And then when you're finished, breathing out, return the foot to the floor. Make sure the hips are level, core switched on, lift the opposite leg up. Again, shin is parallel. As you breathe out, extend, knees are in line, locking at the knee. Breathing in as you come back. 2. And 3. 4, 5, and you can make it challenging by lowering the leg towards the floor. Trying to keep your hips level and steady. Again, just going for 10 in total. And then breathing in, you return the foot to the floor. Onto our shoulder bridge. So again, you can have your feet as close as you like to your hips, provided that when you roll up, you don't end up with your knees way out over your toes. Okay? Core switched on as you breathe out, tilt the pelvis, curving the spine, flattening your lower back, lifting the tailbone off the floor, breathe in there, and then breathe out as you return. Returning the spine to neutral, and then breathing out, tilt the pelvis, curving the spine, flattening the spine, lifting the tailbone to 1 or 2 vertebrae, and then breathing in as you roll back down, breathe in as you return the spine to neutral. You're going to keep your knees hip distance apart, just working our way up. Once you get used to it, you can roll up to ski slope straight from the start, just at the beginning, taking your time, making sure you're getting the flexibility into all parts of the spine, making sure you breathe in wherever you stop. Provides a little stretch for the spine, and also helps to strengthen up the hamstrings, the glutes, and the lower back. release though. You're doing the same thing, breathing in as you roll up, breathing in at the top, breathing out as you roll back down, making sure that you roll the whole spine down and then return to neutral. After breathing in on the floor, you roll back up, looking for that straight line from the knee to the hip, to the shoulder. You don't want to push it too far. Drop down, try not to push with the chest, push through with the hips using the lower back, the glutes and the hamstrings, and then breathing out as you roll back down. If you get comfortable with this, and your arms, breathing in at the top, just bring your arms up, breathing out then as you roll back down, just remove some of the stability. Challenges the spine a little bit more. Moving for a side kick. Palm facing the ceiling, head resting on the arms, shoulders, hips and legs all stacked. Core switched on. And as you breathe out, move the hand to challenge. So breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Remember, you can flex your feet, look down. Just make sure you can see your toes and nothing but your toes. If you're happy with that, gently point your feet, head drawn up through the crown. Keeping that sense of space between the ribs and the hips, sense of length throughout the body. And if you feel you're able, floating your top leg up to hip height. So again, you can use the fingertips, just make sure the shoulder on top is shoulder blades back and down. Don't have it pulled forward. When you bring it up, try not to let your arm rest here. It tends to overbalance you. So bring your arm down, along by your side. Again, when you get used to this, or if you feel you're able, you can bring your bottom leg up to meet your top leg. So ideally, you're keeping your top leg at the top, at the hip height, and bringing the bottom leg up to meet it. So you're working the outside of this leg, the inside of the other leg, stretching the outside of the bottom leg, working the inside of the top leg, working your core and this side. A little bit of stretch into this side as well. So that when we do the other side, working the exact opposite muscle in the exact opposite ways. Breathing in as you return one foot to the floor, followed by the other. So repeating that on the opposite side. Again, palm facing the ceiling, head resting on the arm. Start with one leg. If you're able, or if you can't yet get both legs up, but you're comfortable here, balancing, it's not a problem. Fingertips on the floor, breathe out, bring your top leg forward, just as far as you can comfortably go, without having to push back too much or letting yourself fall forward. Then breathe in as you come back to the center. So you're working at just bringing your leg as far forward as you can comfortably go, and then breathe in as you come back again. So it works the whole body, chest, the back, everything's working to keep your body as straight and steady as it can. Breathing in as you come back. Breathing in. Breathing in. Breathing in. Breathing in. Last one. Returning the foot to the floor. Just going to come up seated. And work on our spine twist. So feet are hip distance apart, shoulders relaxed back and down, sitting up tall. Hands together, thumbs against the chest. Core switched on. So try to tilt your pelvis down in front as much as you can. Sit up nice and tall. If you need to sit on a block or in a chair to start off with, that's fine. You may need to bring your feet a little bit forward in this position as you breathe out. Just make sure your elbows don't catch your knees. Turn. You can see the nose stays in line with the fingertips. Because the hands are against the chest, there's no extra movement in the shoulders. All the movement's coming from here, moving through the waist. So you're using your oblique muscles, abdominals, lower back. Trying to keep your hips steady. So there's no movement in the legs. Not shifting our weight from side to side. Trying not to sink back and bend this way. Trying to sit up tall and literally just twist the spine. Starting here, going up and down through the whole spine. Making sure you do equal numbers on both sides then. Coming back to the centre. Relax the arms down. Going to go with our swan dive. So, I'll go through the basics again. In class, I'm going to stick with this one first. So elbows are in close by your sides, hands just in front of the shoulders, feet are hip distance apart. Nose is the point of contact. Forehead and chin are about the same distance away from the floor. Core switched on, shoulder blades back and down. Now as you breathe out, begin to lengthen down to the top of the spine. And curving. Try and keep that length in the spine. And your arms take some of the weight but not pushing. And then breathing in as you return. And going for 2. You can see, starts in my back, but then my glutes involve, legs a little bit as well, working to keep my foot on the floor. As I get a little bit higher, and always with control. Head staying in line with the spine, always looking slightly towards the floor. Again, just going for 10 in total. Keeping your core switched on, shoulder blades back and down, keeping at least one foot on the floor. And always lengthening through the spine. In a long curve instead of a bend. And one hand on top of the other, resting the forehead on your hand. Shoulder blades again, back and down, core switched on, feet hip distance. As you breathe out, straightening the knee first, lengthening out through the foot, pushing back up towards the hip, and keep the hips squared and level. Breathing in as you relax down. And stick with the same legs. Just going to go for 3 on this side. Breathing out as I extend. And then 3 on the opposite side. And then alternating. Trying to keep the hips level and steady. Again, over the foot lifts. Lifting is not my primary concern. I'm not trying to get the leg up high. Just want to lengthen and when you're finished, just come back, sit back on the heels, stretching out the lower back. Walk the hands forward to stretch the lats, big muscles up here. Or you can bring your arms down by your sides, let your arms hang, stretch the muscles up at the upper back between the shoulder blades. If like me, your arms quite long, they rest on the floor. And place your fingers and just let the elbows drop down and stretch. Ready then to back up seated. I'll get you started.